Howdy, folks. Widget Wells from NeedCoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. Here's how this works for the uninitiated. Just left the cinema where I've seen a film, and I'm going to talk to you about it on the way home. And tonight, we're here to talk about True Grit. So, True Grit. What can we say about True Grit? Okay, so synopsis. Synopsis is there's a young lady whose father has been killed, and killed by a man named Tom Chaney. And Tom Chaney is an evil man, and she wants revenge for her dead father, as one would. So she quickly realizes that the law where she isn't going to do much about it, having a backlog of miscreants to have to deal with. So she finds and hires the services of a marshal by the name of Rooster Cogburn to go and find said bad guy and bring him to justice in one way or another. That's pretty much the synopsis. Now, everybody was up in arms about the film because it's a remake. And we have a certain sensitivity to remakes. For the most part, for good reason, because a lot of remakes suck, frankly. We're in remake alley right now, where lots of people want to just remake things for the sake of remaking them, and they don't really bring anything new to the table. As I've said on occasion, the law of relative development says that you're going to get remakes of everything. Eventually, everything will be remade. However, I maintain that that doesn't mean that the remakes have to suck. You can have good remakes. So as long as you're going to remake something, why not remake a good movie? Remake a good movie, but make a good movie with the remake. You know what I'm saying? So, that appears to be what the Coen brothers had in mind. I forget who pointed it out, but someone said, look, they didn't have to remake True Grit. They chose to remake True Grit, and, they're the Coen brothers. They can pretty much do anything that they want. So, that, coupled with the fact that, really, in the past several years, the best Western that I've seen, one of the best Westerns that I've seen, and I'm not talking about best Westerns like The Hotel, I'm talking about Western genre films, is No Country for Old Men, which is fantastic, and doesn't seem like a Western on the surface, but really kind of is. So I kind of went into this thinking, okay, yeah, and then I saw the trailer, Jeff Bridges doing his thing, Matt Damon doing his thing, and I went, okay, this might be okay. So the good news is, it's better than okay. It's in fact phenomenally solid. It's got that solidity that comes from a really good Coen Brothers film, if that makes sense. Fans of the Coen Brothers, I think, will understand what I'm talking about. It just feels well orchestrated, well put together. It's one of those things where, it's like on the pyramids, they talk about the giant stones that you can't slip anything between them because they're so well, constructed and slapped together. Not slapped together, that implies something else, but placed together, so it's very tight. That's what it is with this film. And I don't mean that to mean where it feels constricted. It just feels very solid. And that's excellent. Partly, the thing about True Grit is, everybody loves it because of John Wayne, and John Wayne won the Oscar and all this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I loved watching True Grit and Rooster Cogburn over and over again. I think it was TBS. They used to come on when I was a kid, and I think they showed them every 3 days or something. So I kind of dug it. That was actually my... I think my introduction to John Wayne was through Rooster Cogburn. So, I kind of have an affinity for it myself. But when you look at the film that we've got now, and it's been a long time since I've seen the original. It's just come out on Blu-ray, which is sweet, because now I can go back and rewatch it. But when you go back and look at this film, it's just a really solid Western. It doesn't redefine the genre, but it doesn't set out to do that. It just sets out to tell a really good story, and it does that. Now, the thing that kind of makes it transcend is the casting that I was talking about before. And certainly, Matt Damon turns in an excellent performance, but Jeff Bridges as Rooster Cogburn is both hilarious and deadly, which is kind of hard to do. It's kind of hard to laugh at somebody as a drunken buffoon, but when they put their mind to it and they draw down on somebody else, you just go, oh hell, somebody's about to die, and die hard. So he does that, and Jeff Bridges is a really great actor. I mean, as cool as it was to see him in Tron Legacy, it was kind of like goofy to see him kind of supposedly acting like he had somehow digitally aged as his real self. It's very confusing. And yet talk like he was still in the 80s, kind of. So that was kind of like him just goofing around. This is Jeff Bridges totally not goofing around. And it's really quite nice to see. But I think the real standout performance, even better than Bridges, is, I believe her first name is Haley, and I forget her last name. I'm terribly sorry. But the young lady that they found to play Maddie Ross, who sets all of these actions in motion, she's kind of like a revelation. You know what I mean? It's the glory of finding somebody and just going, wow, you're really good. And I think Rob mentioned when he did his review on Weekend Justice that he did for us, she really does stand toe-to-toe with everybody in that film. And it doesn't matter if it's Barry Pepper, it doesn't matter if it's Jeff Bridges or Matt Damon or Josh Brolin. She totally steps up to what she's supposed to do and nails it. So as cool as everybody else's performance in it is, and it's always great to see Josh Brolin, always great to see Barry Pepper, she's the star. And I agree with Rob. I think she needs some kind of something. You know what I mean? I mean, she could be Oscar worthy this year. So that would be really cool. So that's the main thing. It's a really solid Western, and the casting and the dialogue as well just really takes it up over the edge. So, you know, am I pleased? Yes, I'm pleased. I'm always pleased to see a well-created Western because we don't get that very often. And it used to be that there were Westerns all the time, and you know, we only remember the really good ones because those are the ones that everyone says to go see. But now even just a really solid one, and we remember that because the genre really needs sometimes a kick in the ass. So, very happy with the film. I would say it's a solid 4 out of 5. And definitely worth seeing. Is it big screen worthy? You know, I would say the only reason it would not be big screen worthy is if watching that trailer and hearing about the idea of it didn't excite you. I mean, if you watched that trailer and you felt like, that might be okay, you know what? Watch it on DVD, you'll be fine. But for anyone who's a fan of the genre, a fan of the cast, fan of the Coen brothers, whatever else, if anything about that entire equation appeals to you, then you definitely want to catch at least a matinee so you can save a few bucks. But it's definitely worth catching. So, and I would say this is an example of you. Just because you have to have a remake, it can be a good remake, folks. It can be, because this is one. So luckily in this case, our fears were unfounded. So so there you go. True Grit, 4 out of 5 cups. Definitely worth seeing. And, you know, Haley should get up for an Oscar. I don't know about Bridges. I mean, Bridges just won and all, as again Rob pointed out, but oh no, you could get a nod because remember the actors nominate the actors. So, but quite good. Anyway, so that does it for this time. We're trying to catch up on these films. Appreciate everybody who watches these and gets some kind of benefit from them. That's what we do them for. But yes, anyone who Facebooks these things, stumbles them, shares them in any way whatsoever, it is extremely helpful to us, and that helps us out more than you know. You may go, what can I do? That's what you can do, and it's extremely helpful. So anyway, this will probably be the last Wayhomer I get up before the new year happens. So thanks to everybody for your support of these things in 2010 and your support of Need Coffee in general. And we will see you on the other side. So, bye. I almost forgot. I was so excited. And George Romero fans will be excited as well. The guy's name, I believe, is Jarlath Conroy. And I usually don't look up things before I do Wayhomers, but while I was doing a tinkle, before I came out to the car, I did check on my phone, because for some reason I always think the actor's name is Joe Pilato, but it's not. It's Jarlath Conroy, and he was the radio guy in Day of the Dead, the original Day of the Dead. He plays the Undertaker. Awesome cameo. It's so important to me to share that I needed to fire back up the camera so I could tell you. So anyway, I'm really going now. Bye!